Today I'm going to show you how to create this chunky basket. So the only thing you need for this tutorial to make this basket is some jumbo 9mm braided cord. You need about half a 100-meter ball, so about 50 meters. 15mm crochet hook and a pair of scissors, and that's everything you need. So if you haven't worked with a Bobbiny braided cord before, keep the label on, don't take it off, and always pull from the side with a knot in it. Okay, I'll take this knot out because we don't need it. All you're going to need now is your hook and your yarn. So we're going to start with a magic circle. If you've not done that before, what you do is put the tail in the palm of your hand, wrap the yarn, the working yarn, over 2 fingers, wrap it all the way round and crisscross at the top. I've put it there to secure it. Then you're going to take your hook, go under the first hook, over the second one and pull it through pull it through. I turn it like that and then I go and grab this working yarn and pull that through. So you might want to replay that a few times. So yeah, keep your circle quite big for now. We're going to do 8 US single crochets, which is 8 UK double crochet into here. So to do that, we're just going to put a hook in the circle, going over this bit as well. Pull up a loop and yarn over and go through 2. Great, and do that again, 1, 2. So we're going to do 8 of these. So I'll do one more and then. So that's 3. Keep pushing them as you go round, and then you can start decreasing your circle. So I'll meet you when we've done 8. Okay, I've done 8 now. We can pull this to cinch in the middle. And then what we're going to do is the invisible slip stitch join. So you're going to pull up this loop, and then you're going to take your hook through the back to the front of the first stitch. Then you're going to pop that loop over your hook and pull it through to the back. There we go, and then you're just going to straighten it out so it's flat. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go through on the back, we're going to go through to the right of this loop. You're going to see 2 strands there, and this is the loop above. So just take that flap off. We're going to take our hook and it should come out in the middle of there. It might take a bit of pushing, but basically we're going to find the bit that comes out there, which I think is here. Sometimes you need a smaller hook just for this one stitch. So it's always to the right of the loop. There we go. This is, I promise you, that's the hardest stitch to find. And if you can't go through it with your usual hook, then go through it with a smaller hook. So you yarn over and pull through, pull up a loop. So you've got a loop on the front, a loop on the back. Then you're going to pop this loop on the hook as well. So you've got 2 loops on your hook. And then you're going to yarn over and go through both. So this is your invisible slip stitch join. You don't count this as a stitch throughout this pattern. So I'm trying to close that circle a bit more. There we go. So just close your circle as much as you can. In this round, we're going to be doing 2 waistcoat stitches for every stitch. So instead of 8, we're going to have 16. So the first place we need to go through is, we need to go in the middle of this V here, and we need to make sure we go through these 2 loops there, which should come out at the back between those 2 loops there. If you don't come out there, you're in the wrong place. So it's the 2 loops with the loop running along the top. You should end up in the middle there. Once you get used to going in the right place, it is easy, I promise. So we're going to pop our hook in there. And waistcoat stitch is just like US single crochet, US UK double crochet. But in that position, that's all it is. It is an easy stitch. It's just making sure you find out exactly where to put your hook. This row can be tight because obviously you're doubling up what you make. You're doubling up the amount of stitches here. So it's probably the tightest round. So there's not that many rows in this pattern. So it is a quick and easy make, this one. Okay, so you're going to do 2 waistcoat stitches in each stitch around. So I'll show you again. So you can see this V here with a loop above it. So that kind of, those 2 that come together there with that loop above it. We want to go in the middle and through those 2 strands at the back. So pop your hook in there, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, and then you're doing exactly the same thing in the same spot, because we're putting 2 stitches in every stitch this round. Okay, I'll meet you at the end when we've got 16 stitches and don't count the invisible join. Okay, we're at the end of this round. We're just going to pull up that loop and we're going to do the invisible slip stitch join again, which is 2 parts to it. First of all, we want to get this loop through under the first 2 loops from front to back. And then part 2 is where you find the stitch to the right of the loop. Pop your hook through there, yarn over and pull up a loop, and then pop that loop onto your hook, and then you're going to yarn over and go through 2. Something caught there. Do that again. Yarn over, go through 2. Okay, so in this round what we're going to be doing is increasing every second stitch. So in the first stitch we're going to do 2, and that's an increase. So 1, and then the second in the same spot. And then just 1 waistcoat stitch in the next one. So then we're going to do 2 in this one. And then 1 in this one. Okay, so if you continue round doing 2, 1, 2, 1 all the way round, I'll meet you at the end. We should have 24 stitches. Okay, so you should end up with 1 waistcoat stitch at the end, and then you'll just need to pull up on your loop, take your hook under the first 2 loops of the first stitch, bring that through to the back, take your hook through this V here, which will come out of the back of these 2 here, so that you know you're in the right place. yarn over and pull up a loop, add that loop at the back and yarn over and go through 2. I only went through that quickly because I knew you'd done it before. Okay, so for this round, this one is a very easy round. You're just doing 1 waistcoat stitch in each stitch around. So if you do that 1 waistcoat stitch in each stitch around, then I'll come and join you at the end. Okay, so we've finished that. We have done 1 round of waistcoat stitch without any increases, and that just helps keep the walls straight when we move on to the walls soon. So we're going to actually cut the yarn now and just create an invisible stitch here. And that's because we're going to join the yarn. We want the yarn to be going a different direction. So we're going to cut this here about, what, 2 inches? 3 inches maybe. And then you're just going to pull this through. And what we'll do is take this loop under the first 2 with our hands, or you can use a crochet hook under the first 2 loops, and then pop it back down where it started, pull it so it's tight, and then that creates your invisible stitch, and then we'll just weave these in at the back. So I try and do as many as I can by hand, and then I'll get a crochet hook and weave it in with a crochet hook if I can't do it by hand. I'll show you both ways now. So you basically, at this point you want to hide your ends. We might as well do this one while we're here. So you're just going to do the same. So I'll show you how to do it with the crochet hook. You just take your hook under there, grab the yarn, pull through. It probably is easier with a crochet hook, isn't it? But I do a mixture of both, to be honest. And just keep taking it through until it's hidden. So I will join you when those are joined in. Okay, I've weaved in those ends. Now I'm going to flip it over. Okay, so now what we're going to do, just flatten that out, is attach the yarn, and all you need to do is, you can go through any area, it doesn't matter, but we're just going to go through the back loops only. So these are the front loops, this is the back loop, so we're going through the back loop only here. First of all, we don't need a big tail actually. We're just going to loop that through, and then secondly we're just going to yarn over and pull up a loop. Okay, so that's the first stitch. Next we're going to go all the way round, just 1 UK double crochet, US single crochet in each, and that just means go through there, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2. So we're going to continue that round. So we're going to pop our hook through the back loop only, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2. And you can see it started to create the walls. So this is what creates the walls. So for this round, it's just the US single crochet, UK double crochet, and I'll meet you at the end to join. Okay, so we've finished doing that round. Now all we need to do is join. So we're going to lift up our loop again, pop our hook through there under the first 2 loops from back to front, and then we're going to pull this through from front to back. Okay, and then we're going to find that stitch again. I'm just going to make that loop a tiny bit smaller. Oh, sorry. Okay, we're going to pop our hook through here, which has come out in the right place. We're going to yarn over and pull through that loop, and then we're going to pop our hook loop on the hook at the back, yarn over, go through 2. So this stitch now becomes your invisible slip stitch join. We don't need to count that one. Okay, so now we're going back to waistcoat stitch. Let me just tilt this camera to make sure you can see. It's getting a bit bigger now, isn't it? There we go. Okay, so back to waistcoat stitch now, which is through that V. It's even easier when you're doing it on the walls. You can really clearly see where to put your hook. So through there, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2. Try and keep your loops consistent. I feel like this one's a bit loose, so I'm going to do that one again. Okay, so yeah, don't rush it, just yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2. Oops, there we go. Okay, so there's no increases in this round. You're just going to continue and I'll meet you at the end. Also wanted to say it's best to weave this in now as well, before you get any higher. So I normally poke it through to the back of the circle and then weave it in at the back. Okay, so we're going to join at the end of this round again. We're going to lift this up. We're going to do invisible slip stitch join. So we're going to take our hook from the back to the front of the very first stitch of the round, loop that over the hook and pull it through. And then the second step is always to the right of the loop. You're going through this V here and you're going to poke your hook through there. You should know if you're in the right place because you'll come through, take that out, you'll come through here with those 2 strands with that loop underneath. So pop that through there, check you're in the right place, yarn over and pull up a loop. Then once you've done that, pop the loop on the back on, then you're going to yarn over and go through 2. Okay, so now you can continue with your basket till it's the height you want. I'm doing another 3 rows, so I'll have 5 rows of the wall when I've finished, which will be should be the same height as this one. So I will meet you at the end. You don't need to join when you get to the end. I'll show you how to do an invisible slip stitch, but that's for the very last row. So I'll meet you after you've done another 3 rounds. Okay, so you can finish your basket in 2 different ways. You can just finish it like this, which is how it naturally is, or you can add a round of slip stitch all the way around and that will create this pattern. So you can choose whichever finish that you like. Great, so when you finished your last round, this is what your basket should look like. We're right at the end here now, we haven't joined yet. So what we're going to do is just cut the yarn, about a 3-inch tail, and you're going to pull the yarn up and we're going to create an invisible stitch. So to do that, just take this yarn through the top 2 loops and pull it together. And then take it back down that loop that it started from, and that creates your invisible stitch, which looks really cute. And then all you're going to need to do now is take your crochet hook and weave it down here and weave that in, and then that's, just make sure it's tight, and then that's your basket done. So here's our finished basket. Thank you for following along with this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, just let me know. Bye.